Warning, this show has all kinds of bad words.
Did I ever tell you the about the ¿Qué pasó story?
I don't even know what this story is.
Okay. You never met Ray, who was an old friend of ours. This is circa 89, 90, maybe. This particular story, maybe 91. So this is probably the closest I've come to dying. There's a couple stories that'll probably tie this one, actually. Okay, this is one of the times I've almost died. Me and my friend Ray were walking around my old neighborhood in Tucson, in Midtown. We were going up to this chick's house who went to high school with us. This girl's name was Lupita. And we were walking up to her house, and this was pretty late. It was like around 9 o'clock at night, and around those days to go up to some girl's house knocking on the door at 9 o'clock at night, I mean, especially when you don't know the parents and stuff, it's just not a good idea.
Right.
We went up to the door, and we started knocking on the door, and then some Mexican lady opened the door, and she's like, hello. Or like, oh, is Lupita here? And she's like, oh, and didn't speak English. No. And me and Ray didn't really know. We're not Spanish-speaking Mexicans. He understood it, more so than I did. But so she says she's not home, and we're like, all right, well, cool. We turn around, we start walking away. As we're walking away, we're about, halfway down the block, and then behind us are these two Mexican dudes. And they're like, doing the Mexican whistle type of deal. And we turn around and they're like, hey, ven para acá, whatever they were saying. And so we're like, yeah, what's up? And they're like, it's pretty much like said in Spanish, they started saying something in Spanish. They're like, hey, Spanish. And we're like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't speak Spanish. They're like, why you at that house? And we're like, oh, we're looking for Lupita, she's a friend of ours. They're like, oh, okay. They're like, yeah, see, she, Lupita, yeah, like she's there. And we're like, oh, well, okay. It was all, her mom was probably freaked out because there was some guys at the door. So, they turn around and start walking back to the house, and we're following them. And they were talking to each other in Spanish, kind of quiet, right? And I found this out later on, and they were saying something. And I guess Ray made out something they were saying, and the thing that he made out was, I'm going to get the little one. And so we're like, the fuck? And so he was like, what the fuck? And what I noticed was the two of them started walking slower. And they would walk slower, because they were trying to get us to walk in front of them. And so the slower they would walk, the slower we would walk, because we didn't want to get in front of them. And so before you know it, they're walking really slow, and we're behind them walking just incredibly slow too. And it got to the point to where it's like, okay, this is awkward as to how slow we're walking. Like, this is really awkward, because now we know what's up. We know that you know that we know what's up. And so finally, I was like, okay, hey, listen, guys, amigos. And mind you, these aren't like, hey, fucker Mexicans. These guys were like in like tight Wranglers with fucking snakeskin boots and these big ass gold Mr. T medallions and shit with these gold watches. Like, these were fucking wachos. And so, we're like, I'm like, hey guys, listen, it's getting late and my dad's gonna get mad because I better get home. Just let Lupita know that Michael and Ray said hi. And they're like, oh, no. Then it's the Spanish, Lupita. I'm like, no. Just Michael and Ray said hi, and, hey, you guys, see you in the promised land. And then one of them, they just got quiet, and one of them just started walking forward, and he started shaking his head, and he just goes, no. And it was just dead fucking silence. And then we're like, just quiet. And then out of nowhere, he just screamed at the top of his lungs, Spanish, Lupita! And we're like, huh? And then he just takes one step forward, and then boom! Kicks my friend Ray in the ribs. My friend Ray goes down. I'm in shock. Okay, so now I'm gonna flash back about a day before this happened. We're gonna do this kind of Quentin Tarantino style, okay? So remember,
Okay, sure.
da-da-da-da-da, Lupita, boom, kicked him in the ribs. He went down. We're flashing back. All right, it's 2 days earlier. Now, 2 days earlier, Ray comes to my house and says, Michael, you got to see what I fucking bought, dude, but I can't show you here. I got to show you, Oh, no, he did. He showed me in my room. He goes, check this out. And he went into his pants and pulled out his dick, and he's like, you want some? No, I'm kidding. He pulled out a little six-shooter, or a little revolver, like a little gun. This gun is the kind of guns that they use at like track meets, when they shoot in the air.
Oh, right. Yeah,
and so the front barrel is actually sealed. There's not even a barrel; it's sealed. It's just shaped like a gun. It's a pop gun. It just makes a lot of noise, but it's loud as fuck, and it's metal. It looks like a gun. It shoots kind of blanks, And when you pull the trigger and you shoot it, I mean, even flames come out the side of the what's it called, the little wheel thing. I don't know what it's called. So I mean, the shit's legit. It's just not a gun. It just makes a lot of noise, and it looks an awful lot like a gun. So anyway, so he had this, and we were always fucking around with people with this pop gun and all this kind of shit. And so he would always carry it around saying it was his protection. In his head, he kind of felt like, he felt like the security of having a real gun when he really didn't, because he was just not all there. So anyways, Let's flash forward. Spanish, Lupita! Boom! Kicks him in the ribs. He goes down, right? And as soon as he goes down, in one motion, he goes down and comes back up with his arms raised like a goddamn flamenco dancer. Like, yeah. He pulls out this little fucking gun, points it at them, and then he goes, "¿Qué pasó?" Right? And then just goes, boom, 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 and starts shooting at him. And so these guys, okay, so first of all, ¿Qué pasó in Spanish means what happened. So I don't know what he was trying to say. I think he was trying to I think he was trying to say something along the lines of like, "What's up, motherfucker?" But instead, he pulled out this gun. He pulls his gun out in a flamenco stance with all this pride, like, yeah. And he goes, "What happened?" Boom, 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 and starts shooting them. What happened? And starts shooting. And so these two Mexican dudes are like, "A la verga!" And they take off running. Boom, they take off running the other way. And so me and him take off and run the opposite way, right? And so we're booking. And of course, like, he's laughing like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, you hear me? Say, ¿Qué pasó?" So we're running and running and running. And I just keep hearing boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, "Dude, stop. We're in a neighborhood. You need to stop." And I look at him and his face is pale white. He said, I don't have it's in my pocket. I don't have the gun. And I stop.
Are you fucking serious?
Dead serious. I turn around, and at the end of just about 7 houses down, I see these two guys in the middle of the road. One of them is squared up. Like his feet are like kind of like, at shoulder width apart. He's squared the fuck up, holding a goddamn gun in front of him like he's at a shooting range. And the other Mexican is standing right next to him, plugging his ears. And so the guy's squared up, and you just see boom, boom, and you just see like just the spark coming out of their real gun, mind you. They're with their real gun they're shooting back at us. Boom, boom. We could see the sparks of the bullets flying off of the street. And so we turn around and we're running and we're zigzagging around because, in the streets, that's what, they're like, if anybody starts shooting at you, you motherfucker, you better start running in swirls because the moving target's hard to hit. So we're like swirling around and it's hitting the street. It hit a car. And we were like, holy shit. We took off running. We ran down an alley. We were going to hide in the alley, but all the dogs were barking. We're like, they're going to follow the dogs. And in all reality, I don't think they're going to chase after us because in their head, we had a gun too. So there's no point.
Right.
But we went and we got all the way to Gabe's house, the Mexican Mr. Olympia, as the listeners know him as. We got all the way to his house, and we're knocking on the door. We're like, hey, open the door, fucking open the door. And so, he opened the door. He's like, what the fuck's wrong with you guys? And then we're like, this and this. And Ray's like, and this, and these guys. And they pull out my gun. And I was like, ¿Qué pasó? And this, and then this. And they fucking started shooting at us. And at the end of the story, Gabe goes, you said what happened? So we're like, yeah, I guess so. He's like, and Gabe, out of all that, Gabe's like, dude, that means what happened. You said what happened and shot at them. And we're like, we almost fucking died. And so I don't know what would have happened if he didn't have that little gun, but forever we always, refer to that gun as his little Que Paso gun.
www.myfriendjoepodcast.com